Welcome to the Business Plus admin training. Thank you everyone for joining me today. Today's flight time is going to be only 30 minutes. Feel free to pose any questions again in that GoToWebinar control panel. We have a staff on hand ready to answer those questions. And let's go ahead and begin. So many of you may have already subscribed to the Business Plus product that we offer, and many of you may not. So thank you both parties for joining us today to learn more about this product suite. A lot of great stuff here. And first, let me explain some of the key features for the Business Plus product, one of which is the ability to create loop templates. Obviously, we'll be digging into that quite a bit, but the idea around loop templates is you as an admin and broker have the ability to create a turnkey transaction to where the second an agent creates a loop, everything that's going to be needed for that type of transaction, listing, buying, rental, etc., everything's there. So we're reducing the amount of time the agents are spending creating these transactions. We're also minimizing the time that's necessary for training new agents starting out in a brokerage because you've gone ahead and done some of this legwork for them. We'll also be taking a look at your workflows. And many of you should know what workflows are. It's essentially what happens after an agent turns in paperwork to the office as that paperwork's being passed along through the admin's hands, through the manager's hands for approval and compliance. With Business Plus, you have unlimited workflows. With regular business, you are limited to just two, typically listing and buying. Clearly, we all know that there's other transaction types, so Business Plus does allow you to customize those workflows to be specific to those types of transactions. And we'll also take a look at custom branding. So in real estate, obviously, branding is number one. We want to make sure that everybody knows, hey, I'm an outstanding agent with company XYZ. So we want to make sure that you guys know how to create a custom branded dotloop dashboard. Okay. First thing I want to show you is obviously just like many cooking shows. I'm going to show you a finished product, and then I'm going to show you how to cook it. Okay. So essentially, after you, the manager in OAs, create a loop template, I'm logged in as just a regular agent, and I'm going to create a loop. Obviously, I'm going to click and give that loop a name. So let's say we're doing a listing for 709 West P Rose Way. And here, I'm given the option to select a template. And again, these have already been prepared by my managers and admins. And I'm simply going to tell the system right now, as I'm creating the loop, what type of transaction it is. So if I select listing transaction and create loop, watch what happens the second this loop opens up. All the documents I'm going to need for this listing already here. Okay, as you can see, the listing type or listing for sale type has already been assigned. That's just a few less clicks that I need to, move past in order to concentrate on what's actually needed for this transaction. If I scroll down, I can see that my admins and managers have already created a couple custom lists for myself, as well as the front desk, to ensure that this transaction is successful. Okay, so at this point, if you're keeping tally or looking at your time as an agent, I've already skipped maybe 10 minutes of adding documents, maybe 10, 15 minutes of adding tasks. I can immediately go to the people section, start adding my clients, and start filling out documents. Okay, so that's the idea around the loop templates. Now let's actually take a look and see how easy it is to create these loop templates for your agents in your office. First of which, obviously, I need to switch over to my admin profile. And one key thing that we want to make sure, for those of you who may not be aware or not know whether you're on the Business Plus platform or just regular business, if you switch to your admin profile, we will display Business Plus or just Business in the top left-hand corner. So for those of you unsure, quick and easy way to identify that right on the surface, okay? So within the Business Plus admin profile, I'm going to go to my templates section. And this is where we can create these loop templates, etc. Before I open and start creating these loop templates, one thing that I do want to make sure that I have completed already is looking at my document section to make sure that I have the correct document packets created, such as listing packets, buying packets, rental or commercial packets. Preparing these ahead of time is going to make the process of creating the loop template much more easier. Okay. Also, make sure that we have our task templates. Awesome. Those look good. So let's go ahead and take a look at one of the loop templates that I've already created. So as the agent, I introduced and brought in this loop or the listing transaction loop type. And you can see here those documents that I brought in, those different folders that I have, all those tasks, etc. Okay, so this is the way to customize what you want your agents to see every time. If I were to create a brand new loop template, I'm going to go ahead and select a transaction. So let's go ahead and say this is going to be another listing type. Create template. And here is a blank loop template ready for me to add that specific info. Okay. So if we start at the top, obviously we want to bring in and introduce a listing folder. So clearly I'll click that add folder button. I can give that a name. Let's go ahead and call that listing folder. I can set the workflow that essentially when an agent goes to submit this file to the office, it's already going to know what type of file this is. So let's go ahead and call that a listing review, and let's add my documents. Now, when I click add documents, the reason we wanted to make sure that these listing packets and buying packets are already created is the fact that I can just go ahead and grab one, I can click select all and add. And what do you know? All those documents are ready to go. Now, if we ultimately are going to need or want, for organizational purposes, additional folders, we do have that opportunity. So let me go ahead and let's create an offer folder, just so when we do receive offers, we have a nice place for that to go and I don't have to worry about that at the back end. Okay. I, of course, can add any offer paperwork I need. Maybe I want to add some placeholders for when we do receive offer paperwork. As long as they exist in the document section, you can add them to the loop template. Okay. You do have the ability to mark certain documents as required. So essentially by saying that, an agent would not be able to submit a file to the office for compliance unless this document has been filled out and saved within dotloop. Okay. Obviously, I can rename documents as such and accordingly. Okay. I can add a little description. So if I click edit, I can actually explain to my agents what this document is for or what purpose it serves. Maybe it's name something that the MLS named. You guys don't call it that internally. Maybe you want to give a little description as to what that document is referenced to in the office. If I scroll down, we can really get to some levels of customization that is going to benefit you and the agents according to your office. So again, we can add these templates. Actually, let's look at people. If there's any transactions that require an individual to be added that may not be an admin, maybe it's a member of the accounting team or the finance team, you can add them by default here to where they're added to every single transaction that the agent chooses this loop template for. Okay, so it's super easy to do. Full name, email, give them a role, very much like the adding of people within a loop. I can pull in some of the loop templates that I've created already. So again, I can go ahead and say seller's checklist. I can say first time. Nope, let's go ahead. Closing paperwork and front desk. We can go ahead and add those three. Okay. I can do further customization of adding these. Obviously, I have the ability to shuffle these to place them in the proper order to, again, guarantee my agent's success with this. I can scroll down. You notice that I have the ability to add roles. So if there's ever any situation or any type of transaction that requires any other role than what we provide to you, maybe a photographer or maybe a certain type of inspector, you do have that ability to add that role here. Simply type that in. Say inspector. Okay. And I can click on that, and I have the ability to expand on what information I want to capture for this inspector. So by default, email and name are by default provided for you, inherited for you. I have the option to add fields. So maybe I want their company name. Okay. I have the ability to tell the system what type of field that I want this information to be captured by. So is this just a text field, a date field, or maybe I want to provide a drop down of the 4 or 5 different inspector companies, home inspection companies that we work with. Let's go ahead and leave it as a blank text field. That way my agents have that ability to fill that information in. Okay. And of course I can add as much information I want as for this person. So maybe I want phone number, etc. Okay. If I scroll down, we also have the ability to customize our loop field. So if I open these up here, this should look familiar to a lot of you. That this is what we call, or you'll find this information in the view details page of every single loop. A lot of you should be familiar to that, and a lot of you are probably at one point in time saying, I wish I could add XYZ as a field here, that way I can capture this information from my agents. Well, you can do that today. So for example, maybe in property address, dotloop doesn't provide an option for maybe street type. Street type's a good one. We can add that. Create that as a text field. Now that's going to be displayed and in front of you for your agents to input that information, maybe street direction, etc. Okay. Scrolling down, we have some contract dates. Maybe I want to add an occupancy date here, etc. Under geographic description and property, this may be applicable to some parts of the country to where you might want to capture something that might not be conducive to the rest of the 50 states. Obviously, the reason why we didn't include it here. Okay, so long story short here, guys, if you have documents that dotloop isn't pre-populating or auto-filling enough information for you, you can actually create a loop template that essentially does populate 100% of that document, given that you put a little legwork in here. Okay. Now, for these documents or for these pieces of information that we want to capture, clearly adding them here isn't going to just autofill that information already. What we need to do is go back to a document where this information is applicable and assign those fields that would autofill this information. So let me go ahead and save this. Obviously, that's a very important, crucial part of this. After I enable it, I can then make my way over to the document section and pull up a document that requires a street type within any of those fields. So if I click on, for example, the success management, or let me go to my listing packet. Let's find the exclusive listing contract. And let's say that this field right here is where we want to make that that street type information autofill. Well, we click on it. In the top left-hand corner, it'll say either no label, or if it has already been labeled, obviously what information would be pulling in here. And all I need to do is click more. And now I have the ability to search for street type as an option to populate. So if I click search street type, sure enough, there it is. I select that, hit apply. And now if I click back on that field, sure enough, that's going to autofill with the street type information as my agents are putting that info into the loop. Okay, super easy. Obviously, those steps again, if I want to ensure that you guys know what I'm talking about. First, we go to loops. We add those custom fields, okay, to the loop section down here at the bottom. So again, I use the example of street type under property address. I saved that information. I then immediately went to the document section, opened up that document where that information was applicable, and I've added that as a label to the field where I wanted that to populate. So super easy, guys. So we get a lot of questions about this? Everyone love it? Let us know how much you love it by the question section of the GoToWebinar control panel. Love to hear some of the feedback, okay? Let's go ahead and let's look at some workflows. So again, in the template section, we have workflows on the left. And again, I mentioned the business product only having the limited 2 workflow options. Here in Business Plus, you have unlimited workflows. Okay, so for example, listing and reviewing, or I'm sorry, listing and buying, you have the ability to maybe create a rental or a lease workflow. And of course, we're going to be starting out from scratch. So if I look over maybe at the listing or buying, just to get an example, I can see all the different stages that this could potentially go to, or maybe people that the paperwork would pass through. So for example, under listing, or I'm sorry, rental review, I'm going to go ahead and add my first stage, and that's always going to be that needs review stage. So if you guys think about, if I was an agent in your office and I had a physical packet of paper that I was going to turn in, well, the first thing I do is I walk in the door and hand that to somebody, and that's going to be typically just the needs review stage. Now, who am I essentially giving that folder to? Okay, so here off to the right, I do have some options in this drop down, and I have the ability to set notification as to who I want to receive this notification. So if I look down my list, I can go ahead and assign that to Dana, as she's our front desk person that makes sure that nothing is going to be submitted, and I'm not going to hand this off to my manager until every piece of paperwork is here. So I can go ahead and select Dana for that admin role. I can add another stage, and maybe this is going to be the manager review portion. Okay, and again, I can go to notifications and tell the system who I want to receive that. So Ann is our manager. I can go ahead and select that. Okay. A few stock stages here would probably be return to agent, approved, obviously, maybe dead deal might be one, etc. Okay, this is again a way to customize this to be the natural language that you guys speak within your offices. So if you guys call this maybe a fallen through or fell through dead deal, exactly, call it whatever you want. Okay, just remember that you have the ability to set those notifications. Now, one thing, once I create this stage and I go to notifications, by default, it's going to be marked as notify immediate admins. And guess what that means? Everybody on my list is going to get that email. Okay, we obviously don't want to bombard folks' emails that have no part in this process. So make sure that you are indeed selecting the proper folks by the drop-down notification. Not only do we have the ability to assign folks to get these emails, you also have the way to tell the system if an agent, again, if they click submit to review, have that change the stage naturally. So right now, again, needs review is the default. So again, if I was the agent in your office, I click submit to review, that default stage is applied, and it's always going to go to needs review. Well, let's say I, the agent, submitted some paperwork. It's gone to the needs review OA, the office administrator. She approves everything and sends it over to the manager to review. Our manager reviews it, everything looks good, and she marks it as approved. Well, here I am. I have a few more documents that I've now introduced into this transaction. Of course, I need that paperwork to be reviewed again. So if I just click submit to review, it's not really going to do anything. It's not going to automatically go back to needs review just because I selected the submit to review. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to add another stage here called additional documents submitted. And I'm going to take this approved stage, which would be where my paperwork is currently, and I'm going to choose to set some resubmit logic. And this is simply telling the system, okay, we're in this stage. If the agent clicks submit to review, what do you want this to then go to? Okay, so I'm going to click resubmit logic. Tells me I don't have a stage just yet. I'm going to change this to additional documents submitted. I'll hit save, and you can see off to the right of approved, on submit, change status to additional documents submitted. And that way, or at this point, I'd probably notify that admin again, who I notified for the initial, my front desk girl, Dana, and save. So again, the process as an agent, I submit something, goes to needs review, perfect. She then kicks it over to the manager, awesome. She approves it. I introduce more documents. The agent, they just click submit to review again. It's going to go to additional documents submitted, notifying again our front desk admin, letting her know additional documents have been submitted. Not needs review, right? So she's going to get a prompt knowing, okay, I've already reviewed some of this paperwork. Now I just need to look at those documents that have not been reviewed just yet. Okay. Obviously, once you have the notifications and all the stages created that you want, obviously we're going to click enable, and now that would be an option for to be chosen when the agents click submit to review. Awesome. All right, and the last thing that I want to talk about today, before I close with some closing remarks, is branding. Again, we want to make sure that everybody in your market, agents, brokers, clients, customers, everybody knows who you work for, right? We want to make sure that you're front of mind and your company's front of mind at all times. So to create your custom branding, you're going to go to your profile dropdown, and you're going to go to My Account. I then am going to find my admin profile over here. Perfect. Now, in this top banner, I have the ability to include my company logo, as well as changing my background color for my dotloop color scheme. So let me go ahead. I'm going to add a quick logo real quick. Let's use this one. All right, we're number one. And I can go ahead and maybe try to match that color scheme the best I can. Colors are not my strong suit. So let's go ahead and say that fits our primary and secondary colors for our office. And this is what my dashboard is going to look like. So give a sense of ownership to your dashboard and make it feel like your own. Okay. The great thing about this is not only going to be seen by you and your agents. When you share documents out to your customers and co-op agents, your emails will also be branded. So again, making sure that the documents aren't going to be branded. I apologize if I said that, but your emails will be customized, and everybody will know your brokerage. Awesome. A few other things that I do want to mention here. Again, you can replace that logo and change that background color as often as you want. But again, I do want to emphasize, if you guys are on the Business Plus platform right now, please take advantage of the turnkey options that you have with the Loop templates. I'm sure the second that you create this and show your agents that when they click and create a loop, all they need to do is choose that template, they're going to be in love with it. Okay, they're reducing the amount of time spending in preparation, and again, much time reducing the amount of training that's going to be necessary to learn and get on board with dotloop. So if you have any of those folks that say, I don't have an hour to learn dotloop, well, take 5 minutes and share with them and show them just adding a template when they create a loop. 90% of the work is going to be done for them. For those of you who are not on the Business Plus platform as of right now, and if you did enjoy what you just learned today, please reach out to either your success manager or our sales team. Reach out to our sales team. We'll get you, or call into support. Either way, 513 257-0551. We'll make sure that we direct you to the proper folks. That way you can upgrade to the Business Plus platform. And the sales number is going to be easy to remember. It is 513-257-0552. Okay? So give us a call. We can obviously upgrade you to take advantage of these great features. Two things that we did not talk about that is required for Business Plus is our ability to create an SSO for you. So a single sign-on. So if you guys have a host or a mother site that you guys, your agents go to launch other systems or programs, we do have the capability of including dotloop in that SSO. As well, we do have an open API. So if you guys want dotloop information and data to cycle over to any other systems, whether it be accounting or our CRM, anything like that, we do have the capability of integrating with those type of systems. Okay, so a lot of value and a lot of capability is possible with the Business Plus platform. And I want to make sure that you guys are taking advantage of every aspect of it and adding value to your office and adding value to your agents. Other than that, that's all I had for you guys today. I greatly appreciate your time. Thank you for participating and sending any questions. We'll stick around here for the next few minutes to make sure any of those questions or all of those questions are being answered for you. So if you'd like to stick around, fire those questions away. Otherwise, give us a call, either at support, at sales, or your success coach, success manager, and we'll go ahead and get you upgraded and take advantage of these features. Other than that, thank you guys. Have a terrific rest of your day, and we'll talk soon.